Lucas sighed, looking away. Alice, you're imagining things. It's just work. I'm exhausted. It's not just that, Lucas. I know there's something more. There's no point in lying to me. Alice felt tears well up in her eyes, but she kept her voice firm. I would never lie to you, Alice. Just believe me. He seemed sincere, but Alice's intuition screamed that there was more behind his words. That night, Alice decided she needed to find out the truth for herself. She could no longer live in uncertainty and pain. The fear of betrayal consumed her, and the desire to find answers was stronger than any other emotion she had ever experienced. The following days were torment. Alice had become obsessive, watching every move Lucas made, analyzing every word he said. Even the moments of affection between them now seemed forced, almost rehearsed. The weight of doubt was unbearable. She began to observe every detail, from the small delays to the way he avoided answering questions about work. One night, after Lucas left saying he would be working late, Alice decided to follow him. She put on a dark coat, took her car, and kept her distance while following him through the city. Her nerves were on edge. Lucas drove to a distant neighborhood, one she had never been to before. The neighborhood had a peculiar atmosphere, with narrow streets lit only by dim street lamps. He parked in front of an old building, which looked eerie, almost abandoned. Alice stopped the car at a safe distance, watching as he entered the building. The hours dragged on. Alice glanced repeatedly at the clock, feeling her anxiety grow. The building had a dilapidated appearance, with broken windows and a graffiti-covered facade. The silence of the night was disturbing, and Alice felt a growing tension as time passed. When Lucas finally emerged, he wasn't alone. A woman was beside him, talking animatedly, while he seemed absorbed in his thoughts. Alice's heart broke at that moment. The fear that her suspicions were true consumed her completely. Unable to control herself, she got out of the car and walked towards them. "Lucas!" she called, her voice trembling with rage and pain. Lucas stopped, surprised to see her there. The woman next to him looked on curiously, but without showing any discomfort. "Alice, what are you doing here?" Lucas asked, his tone confused. "I should be the one asking that. Who is she?" Alice pointed at the woman, her eyes full of hurt. The woman stepped forward, extending her hand. "My name is Isabella. Didn't Lucas tell you about me?" Alice stepped back, feeling the ground disappear beneath her feet. "Tell me what? What's going on here?" Before anyone could answer, the building's door opened again, and Lucas walked out. But he looked different. This Lucas was pale, exhausted, as if he had just come out of a long illness. He stopped upon seeing Alice, Lucas, and Isabella together, and his shocked expression mirrored Alice's confusion. "What's going on here?" Alice repeated, now in a whisper, unable to comprehend the scene before her. The two Lucases looked at each other, and the first Lucas, the one next to Isabella, smiled coldly. "Finally, we meet, Alice. The truth you've been seeking is right in front of you." Alice felt a chill run down her spine. "What do you mean by that?" The second Lucas, the one who appeared weaker, took a step toward her. "Alice, it's me, the real Lucas. I don't know how this happened, but that one there, he's not me." Isabella let out a soft but cruel laugh. "He's not lying, Alice. The Lucas beside you is just a shadow, an imperfect copy created from your own fears and insecurities. He is everything you feared to find." Alice took a step back, feeling despair rise within her. "This doesn't make sense. How is this possible?" Strong emotions like fear and distrust have the power to open doors to other worlds, Alice, Isabella explained. "You opened that door without realizing it, and from there, he came. The Lucas you knew is here, but weakened, drained by this shadow." Alice looked at the Lucas next to her, the smile on his face now seeming like a mask, cold and lifeless. "You're not real," she whispered. The false Lucas laughed, a laugh that echoed through the deserted street. "I'm as real as your fears, Alice, and as long as you continue to doubt, I will continue to exist." "This is madness," Alice said, her voice barely audible. She turned to the real Lucas, now standing beside her. "How can I know who the real Lucas is? How can I trust you after all this?" You have to believe me, the real Lucas replied, his voice full of sincerity. We both know something has always been wrong. I felt it too, but we need to be together to defeat him. The shadow Lucas took a step forward, his eyes gleaming with a dark intensity. You will never fully trust him, Alice. There will always be a part of you that doubts. And that's what feeds me. Alice felt the fear grow inside her, but then she remembered all the moments she had shared with Lucas, all the times he had stood by her side, even during the hardest times. She took a deep breath and turned to the shadow. You're wrong. I know who the real Lucas is, and it's not you. The shadow faltered for a moment, its confidence shaken by Alice's words. You can't get rid of me that easily. I am a part of you, Alice. I am the reflection of your worst nightmares. Maybe you are, Alice replied, but that doesn't mean I have to live with you. I choose to trust the love I feel for Lucas, and that's something you can never destroy. With those words, the shadow began to disintegrate, as if being pulled by an invisible force. This isn't over, it muttered before disappearing completely. Alice and Lucas, exhausted, embraced, feeling immense relief at realizing the shadow had vanished. But as they walked back to the car, Alice noticed something strange in the air. A sensation, a slight tremor in the atmosphere, as if something was still there, watching, waiting. Months passed, and Alice and Lucas's lives returned to normal. But every now and then, as twilight approached, Alice felt a slight discomfort, as if she were being watched. She knew the shadows could return at any moment, but now she was prepared. No matter what came next, she and Lucas would face it together until the end. And so, the terror had not ended completely. It had merely retreated into the shadows, waiting for the right moment to resurface. As Lucas and Alice carried on with their lives in a distant place, in a parallel world, a shadow was forming. Fed by the deepest fears of another person, it waited patiently, ready for the next time doubt and darkness would converge. And although Alice had won that battle, the war against the shadows was far from over. Thank you for watching this story until the end. If you enjoyed the suspense and want to hear more thrilling tales like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Your support means everything, and there are many more exciting stories to come. See you in the next one.